I said Koopa. I'm feeling a little weird after this weekend. Sunday, I feel like like maybe a fever of some sort,
I have an ailment, and the only cure is more bad Christopher Walken impressions.
and more bad hot dogs from the venue, which is what you originally said, but then we started over. Which
That
actually,
is true.
they both work. They both work. But yeah, so this week was definitely an interesting one, and we'll get into that in a bit because this. Well, first of all, welcome the gloves off. For those of you unfamiliar, this is your favorite unknown Super Smash Bros. Podcast featuring myself, Chris ZX, and Koopa, who you already heard, and this week's Zone. And we're going to kind of take you through our experience this past weekend at Rutgers University for the Scarlet Classic 5, because I think it was an experience that actually offers quite a bit in the way of one of my favorite topics, and that is higher education. And basically, it's there's no good way to say this, but basically, like higher education and its like inability to adapt to new things such as esports or just really like anything in general. But like I'm gonna try not to be too biased with this topic, but I do have a lot of opinions, so
The
prepare
man.
yourselves. Yeah, it is. This is the man at work. Because you know what, screw it. Let's just jump right in because this tournament, Scarlet Classic 5, it kind of ran pretty poorly. Just to put it bluntly, it was about I think it was what 3 hours behind. Started sort of late. Doubles took a while. Like just sort of like and then we had like controller malfunctions, we had fevers, players not feeling well, just like all kinds of like really unusual upsets. If I didn't know any better, I would think it was cursed. And then I would say probably the biggest shock to me, or not, I shouldn't say shock, it's just lack of vocabulary at this point, but the fact that we saw 11 straight sets, including Palu and or Wolf, like back to back to
Sorry,
back to
sorry,
the
sorry.
yeah, well, yeah, I'll get to you in a bit because we're also going to be talking about patch 3.0.0. But I could appreciate it. But like, yeah, you definitely because that was all top 32. Top 32 was literally there was like Palu Wolf, Palu Wolf, Palu Wolf, and then I think there was like a Wolf Ditto, and then there was like a Palu Yoshi, and then there was like it was
And then there's Link.
yeah, Link was in there for some reason, only for like a game or two. It was pretty wild, dude. But
Yeah.
like, I think the biggest thing I took away from this tournament was it's just sort of like I don't know. It was poorly ran, and the worst part is there's really no accountable like member to really handle that. And I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but
Yeah. So like, I'm just gonna first by precursor this by saying like we don't like we I've had nothing but nice things to say about like the Rutgers esports like team itself. Like they almost 9 times out of 10 run a good show, and obviously the fact that esports is such like a huge like prevalent part of like the campus life is like really interesting, and I'm glad to see that that is a thing that some other colleges are starting to adopt. And even like they'll be the first ones to tell you that like things did not run as smoothly as they would have hoped to this time around, especially because of the stakes that what the event ended up being. Even despite the fact that there were 62 DQs, it was still technically in C tier range because it met the entrance thresholds. But yeah, there was a lot of like outside stuff that was a lot of it was a lot to take in at first. I think the schedule was the biggest part for me personally. Like I'll see Palu Wolf in my sleep for the next like 3 weeks, and like I'm just gonna start like spinning around rapidly and like hitting people. But
yeah, you and me both.
yeah, but like I do think obviously the biggest thing here is that this is a big learning experience for everybody. Like obviously this was a huge event, and even despite the fact that most of the tournament once you got to top 48 was kind of a rocky start. Like you look at all the people that dropped and like didn't show up or just drowned in general, and like the results are gonna look kind of weird. But the good thing about Smash is that sometimes the ship always finds a way to right itself at the end, and the results and the vacuum don't look that weird, but at the same time, the road getting there was definitely one that was very rocky.
So yeah, I already kind of mentioned some of the shortcomings of the tournament, and you did just mention all of the I think it was 62 DQs, which still ended up at a pretty respectable attendance number. But I just want to go into basically okay, so the main issues were, plain and simple disorganization, basically a lot of attention around something that didn't really have a lot of experience behind it. And if you ask me, that makes a lot of sense for a college club because what happens is the way Rutgers does this, and I'm sure this is a lot of universities and campuses that do the esports stuff because it is so new. Everything is 100% student run. Everything.
Hmm.
So you have like the Smash Club itself, and that is Scarlet Smash in this particular case. So like that's just a club of people that they organize the Rutgers bi-weeklies, all the other events, just like the things that go on. And that's all well and good because that's usually just kind of small, easy peasy stuff, anywhere between like 20 to 50 entrants, like just getting your fellow smashers on campus together and having fun. And then that then scales up to, there's one in the winter, which is Fireside, and then Scarlet Classic is like the spring tournament, where these tournaments, they blow up because they work with the umbrella that is Rutgers Esports, which is
Hmm.
like it blows up in things like Overwatch, Apex Legends, Hearthstone, Street Fighter, all the other FGC stuff. Like that's it's Rutgers Esports, which also is all student ran. So you have a student run organization basically overseeing another smaller student run organization that has received a ton of money and a ton of products and a ton of equipment through sponsorships, and that's all thanks to the university, and that's all well and good. But the issue is there's really no guidance for these students. So as things get organized and things are being put together, there's no real guidance, and the students are they're students, so they're still learning the craft to begin with. And then before you know it, you have a day going off with all this expensive equipment around and being given away and being used, and no one really able to like run it. And if something goes wrong, able to fix it. So it just kind of snowballs, and that's literally what happened on Sunday.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely no secret that like things weren't running well. There was a clear lack of structure. For like a larger majority of the day. Like I still point to the schedule as the biggest thing because like under no circumstances should a tournament that had like you said all the resources that they had run so far behind schedule. And I think the biggest problem that from what I noticed, and I don't know if anybody else could like argue with me, but like I think just the lack of dead time in general is what really like killed like like there's just a lot of little stuff that just like didn't make any sense to me, like doubles and singles not running concurrently like after a certain point, and
Yeah.
like that's the thing that killed me the most. And like the fact that there was just so many setups like just not being used for tournament.
So,
Like
I'll speak to that a bit. Supposedly, that a lot of the setups that they got were not usable for tournament sets. I think like a lot of the setups were not on the right version, or they didn't have all the characters, stuff like that. Which is something that you would expect from more than likely most of the setups were brought by students who were
right.
not competitive. So they probably just thought, oh, I bring my setup to this tournament and I get some discount or something. And
Right.
they obviously aren't like keeping it up to date. So
Yeah, and that's the problem though, is because like student stuff is, it's student stuff. So you might be playing on like a nice monitor because maybe said student is like trying to be a streamer, and then and then like you get someone who's playing on like a Vizio because that's what they got before they went away to college that year. You know what I mean? And there's no control of that. So then you factor that on top of just like poor timing, and then as I mentioned, it snowballs. And what the result is really salty players really mad because it turned out that there was a massive prize pool for this tournament because there was technically no venue fee, and the to enter bracket was 15. So there's like a massive prize pot at stake too. Um, it's just sort of like I don't know. I All right, so as someone who went to college, has a degree, has gotten a job, has had several jobs, none of which have really required my degree, and kind of have seen the way the college operates and what it kind of offers students. And it just fits in so well. And this is a topic I do think that people can grow with. And I kind of think that like kind of needs a lot of awareness around it because this is literally the man, as you mentioned, Koopa. Like this is the man in action. This is like, okay, dollars and cents. We got these sponsorships. We have this amount of money to run this. And then I know the students themselves were responsible for paying for like security within their own budget, but also
Oh
required to
jeez.
have security, which is a couple thousand. And then the space that they had was like several $1,000s. The space was amazing, by the way. It was
Yes.
the athletic center, and that was super cool. That was a very, very cool aesthetic. And the nice part about that is like that's like a future site. Like that's like basically like okay, we fill out this athletic center for basketball games, so eventually esports will fit right in there, right? So that is the thought process. But the problem with that thought process is if you're a university doing things all student run, it's not going to work. You're never going to grow up to hit those numbers. You're kind of just milking it because it's like, oh, students love video games and it's, this is good for the kids and we'll just have them run it and then they expect the world. They want the event to run well. So like that's a disconnect. And on the screen you'll see that that's the venue. It looked a little bit different because some of the seats were pulled back, but it's like literally like a indoor stadium. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's actually like my favorite part of the event, and like not trying to. I do kind of miss like the comfiness of the student center because I was saying throughout the day that I had a fever dream the night before where I accidentally went to the New Brunswick campus and not the Piscataway campus.
Oh
and
God,
I was like, oh no,
that is a nightmare.
It was like that was like one of those like I'm late for class and I haven't been to college in like 2.5 years like type dreams. But like I like the space was absolutely like fantastic. When I saw that we were in like the athletic center, it was really cool. And like if you follow at the college sports, you'll know that the like Rutgers women's basketball is like notorious for having like one of the best programs in the country. So like it was cool seeing all like the banners and stuff on display. So like you said, the space made for a cool aesthetic. And I don't know, it's like I didn't know that the students had to pay for all that stuff out of pocket.
So
like,
that was part of the issue.
It was like partially out of pocket, partially their budget, but I believe a lot of it was out of pocket.
Because and then think about it like this, right? So then like last year, just for a frame of reference, this event usually runs it's run in one of the other campuses, I forget the one. There's like different ones, and then like there's a student center, which this exact picture is usually where it runs.
Yeah, it's a New Brunswick campus, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, this is a New Brunswick Student Center, and this is, so you're going from that to this. So it's like the university has somewhat acknowledged the fact that, like, yeah, there is a lot of attention and people could fill in here, but then you just sort of see, like, what seems to be disregard to really work with the students to put them in a position to succeed in this, and just is sort of like, okay, make this happen, and then it doesn't happen, and then, we'll see this happen again next year. This tournament's still going to get attention because there's plenty of money and sponsorships around it, so that's not going to change, but it ultimately leads to a lot of, like, really salty people who went to the tournament and were just like dissatisfied with it, So these are issues like now this area is pretty well versed in like PGR events. New Jersey specifically, we've had like 3 already in the span of like 4 months.
It's really interesting how we're at a point where we've had so many good tournaments that a tournament like this that's a C tier has plenty of entrants. We find some way to complain about it because we've already had so many other events that like are equal or above what we just experienced. Even though New Jersey doesn't usually get like historically like in Smash 4, we would never get this kind of event anyway. Like,
no, never.
We wouldn't get these kind of numbers anyway. But now this is like the bottom of what we have to offer.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and like I'm not even just Rutgers. Like it's tough doing anything on a college campus because like I know I'm privy to some information about like TCNJ, who I've worked with in the past, just on like regular like monthly-esque events. And like even for them trying to host new tournaments, you got to go through the proper channels, like the proper university channels. You got to go through like the student board, and then you got to like rent out the space, make the budget, get the budget approved, and that's all well and good, but that is a learning process for people who are just learning. So then you have all this money going to the events, but none of that money really being reinvested into the students that are actually trying to do things for said event. And then what happens is I would imagine, like if I was, and I give the Rutgers guys, I do give them a lot of credit, because if there's one thing I will say, it was clear that they were trying to do their best. Yeah. Like no one wants to be in that position where everyone's pissed off at them for running a shitty event, right? No one wants to be in that position. It's awful. And it's hard to really blame any of them for it because they're all still learning. And a lot of the successful, like college, I mean, I don't even know that many successful college orgs, like really, really successful yet. But any of them are going to have came from like the local scene where maybe they've worked with like an RJ before, maybe they've worked with like a house or anyone who knows how to like host a tournament outside of college. So it's really interesting because if you're a university that does want to succeed with this, or like, maybe, do anything with it, like these are all things that you need to know and be connected with. Like you have to be aware that there's like experts in this field by now. and that like growth takes work. Like it's not just like throw stuff against
Hmm.
the wall and watch it stick. But sadly, when you have a budget like that and you kind of do get the sponsorship money, it's very easy to treat it like that. So I think that
I
was
think I think
mostly
I think another disconnect is that the organization of the event itself was kind of outside of the control of the people that were running the event. So like I'm sure that in their mind it would have been like a better idea to get someone like RJ or like even like get like actual volunteers that are experienced with running events to actually run the event, but I don't think that it was within their power to decide those things, which was unfortunate.
yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Coop.
I was gonna say like the big thing is that like they the word I'm looking at here that's key is volunteer, because like they did have like other people that weren't involved with like the actual university like helping out. Like obviously Drex is someone that's like worked with RJ and like usually has TO'd a bunch of these events before. So like for someone that hasn't been around in the scene for like as that long, he does have a lot of like good TOing experience under his belt. So, but like even again at the end of the day, when you have all these things kind of snowballing on top of each other, like we said, between a lot of the setups not being viable, and like a big thing that I saw is that even a lot of the volunteers, like there's a lot of mistakes, like when it came to like calling the right pools matches and like who was where, like
Yeah, well,
the whole thing
Get
just kind
what
of like
you
turned on
pay
its side.
for, man.
Yeah.
yeah,
For the
that's
most
fair.
part.
Because most of the people that were running the pools were students, and they're not as well versed at running bigger
They
events.
need guidance, plain and
Yeah,
simple. You could volunteer, but like if you're volunteering with like nothing really to help, like not only is that like not really super helpful for growth because you get a lot of the negative feedback with nothing really positive to take from it, it's also that makes it very discouraging. And that's the type of thing that I hate to see in college because this is the worst. Like this is I think my main takeaway today and what really disturbs me about events like this and sort of like higher education and university is like you have this age group, the college age just before and maybe even just after, that's like when you have a serious sense of purpose if you're like a person. And the worst part is that it's so commonplace for that sense of purpose to just be like taken from you as soon as you graduate and you realize that your degree doesn't necessarily do the things that you want it to do for you, or maybe it just doesn't translate to the kind of money that you feel like you should be having, which is another discussion. But like the reality is that's what happens. And this event to me was like the absolute epitome of that. Like, let's put students on the front line to do all of these things that are actually like this is professional work that really does deserve like salaries and anything other than just like, oh yeah, we give you a chance to volunteer. And like
mhm.
there's very no like there's little to no return on it, even if you do an amazing job. Because that tournament could have ran flawlessly, and you would have like one or two tweets, maybe being like, "Yo, shout outs to the tos for doing a pretty good job today," and that's it. Like there's no real
Hmm.
incentive. There's no real setup for anything after that. There's no real like, oh yeah, like we've primed our students to do really well doing this exact tournament and doing the structure. Like they're very hireable outside of college for like an esports program. Like that's not happening. And literally, that's what you're paying for when you go to school. You're paying to get a base level of experience to get you positions to succeed. So when you have positions like this that aren't really harnessed, what are you really doing as a school aside from just taking people's money? And that's what really bothers me about the whole thing in general. It really, because like as someone who's a vendor, like I almost didn't stream this tournament. By the way, I've been
Hey,
I want to go back to that. So like I almost didn't stream this, which is really unfortunate because aside from the fact that like I'm a staple streamer for the state for Smash Brothers at this point, like I've been doing this tournament now for 3 years, both Fireside and this one. In fact, I took 1 year off, which was a Fireside because they didn't want to pay me, and the tournament go figure ran terribly, and the stream doesn't exist basically because it just everything got erased. So like this is professional work and I've done it for free and they kind of almost like chumped me, and that's because there's no line of connection to me to explain to someone why it was a bad business decision. So I literally had to like hustle and chase down students and make them feel terrible about themselves to like get another student to feel bad about himself until the point where people were going to boycott the event just because like there was an outside stream that really had no interest or servitude to like the local scene. Like so it's just very
Hmm.
disconnected and it sucks to see that stuff.
Yeah, and like I do feel bad for like the seniors that like ran this, because like this was I think their last event before they graduate. So like it's a
Poor
shame that this
guys.
got it's a shame that like a couple of them are kind of got to leave with like a bad taste in their mouth. But like we did eventually get there. Like I was a little bit nervous when the police officer started like coming down onto the floor, and I'm just like oh no, merciful God, are we gonna get kicked out of this venue? Like I'm trying to think. There's been like a hand because like this drew a lot of like poor comparisons to like this drew comparisons to Katars in the wrong sense.
Yeah.
Or like everyone's just I think back to that fabled one. I forget which one it was actually, but like I just know I didn't get out of that venue until like 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
2 a.m.
Yeah, it was it was no bueno. But like everything eventually did right itself, and like I think one thing. I don't know if you can like credit what happened to the tournament to what happened in bracket. Like I think you can for like someone like Justin who said he wasn't feeling well and he wasn't like too fond of what was happening anyway. So like he DQ'd James ate shit like
Yeah, there was some mix of controller malfunctions, also being frustrated with being 3 hours behind and just everything else. Like I don't think, to be honest with you, I wasn't sure he really wanted to be there in the first place. Like it was just like there was just a really shit like vibe to the whole tournament, if I'm being blunt about it. Just everything felt bad. You could feel the stress from the TOs, you could feel everyone's frustration from being behind, and then like everything else. What I will say though, this is on the low probably one of the best streams I've ever ran, so that's cool.
Yeah, I agree.
The stream ran really well. Like I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, the stream ran fine, and like it's a shame because, like I said, the venue and the location was fantastic, and like it's a great stepping stone to like what actually can happen when like esports and like big universities work together in that capacity. But like you said, like the lack of direction and like that feeling of like everybody's you can just kind of feel the air kind of heavy and everyone's like pissed, and like I saw so many like controller malfunctions and some he who will not be named. I watched somebody throw their controller, pick it up, and then throw it again. Like
he actually did it a third time.
Oh no!
Oh no! I only knew about
We
the
gotta
two
be
times.
careful about that, man.
Yo, man, everybody go back and look at my. I need everybody to go back after this and look at my recent PSA where I was like, "Yo, don't throw your GameCube controllers, man. Them shit's expensive." But like,
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, but dude, so it's like, I don't know. The funny thing is I could keep digging in on this because I have like years worth of like terrible experiences at Rutgers at this point. Part of me just wants to go in right now. Of everything from like not being able to have internet set up for me to like having the Rutgers Twitch stream restream my Master Hand stream.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Dude,
that.
they restreamed it from Twitch itself as a screen cap. And like at the time, still like 2,000 viewers. This time around, they didn't even help us get any viewers. And like I'm not really getting paid very much for this tournament, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like I would almost consider a lot of the effort volunteer myself, just in the interest of like having a good tournament and wanting to contribute to that. So it's just like there's just so many things that add up that basically screams to me if as Rutgers University, like we don't give a fuck about this esports program. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, this doesn't matter. And I think that's just higher education. Higher education is very much a system and is very clean cut for what it is. Get your money, get your paper, and good luck. And that's the exact feeling I got from here.
Yeah, just want to be clear again. This is nothing against the like Scarlet Smash.
Yeah.
No, Scarlet Smash is great, man.
It's completely out of your control.
It really is. It's just, it sickens me. But I don't want this to turn into a total just like rage fest about college because there was some cool stuff at the tournament. I mean, we did get to see some upsets despite being a little bit, upsetting for the people who were upset.
No way.
Wait, hold on.
No way. You guys look at the chat.
Oh shit, hold on. Where can I find it? I'm
sorry. I have
It's fine. It's fine.
What's going on?
There's the Joker. Joker's being announced as we speak. Apparently, where can I find this?
Just look on Twitter.
All right, hold up.
No, it's happening.
Yes!
Is he here?
Yeah.
Is he here?
Hold on. Let me.
Where is it?
Hit it. Oh,
Where
okay.
is
There
it?
we go. There we go. Okay. There we go, dude.
Oh my god.
Learn more about
We
3.0.
didn't see it coming.
Whoa. I have a statement. Make sure that all of the consoles at the Arcadian are updated so I can win with Joker.
Yo, I gotta see, like, cause I got a bunch of RJ consoles, so if he updates them, I'm good with
the
that.
Arcadian with Joker.
Dude,
That's
his render actually looks amazing, by the way.
Starting 4/17. That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. I got 3 days. I got 3 days to win the arcade with Joker.
Yo, look at this stage. This is nice. Is this legal?
All right. Well, I mean,
It's Mementos.
We were talking about 3.0 in this.
Yeah. Let's just jump to
Yeah,
that. This is way better. Yeah, this is way better. This is
Oh
all coming
my
into
God.
place here.
There's a
Wait.
YouTube
So
video.
Joker was announced, but not Jane, right? Because everyone was saying that you would have a female alt, and I never believed it because
No.
that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, that game just got
This stage
announced.
looks like it could be legal. Oh no, it's probably gonna be a stage that
So
that's-
this platform
that's
does
transformation.
this platform does not look like something you could drop under, and I don't know if that would be an issue at this point.
I mean, I don't think it's a wall that like you clank on, but I think the issue is I think the stage is probably going to be something that transforms.
So
And we don't know what it would transform into. So we wouldn't
similar to like the Bayo stage, probably.
know. Yeah, I do see what you're saying about that platform though. That looks
Dude,
like
because you could definitely get hit against this, like like you could just up tilt someone like
Yeah.
a million times and just
That
watch
looks like a
them
hard
not
ball.
tech.
There's
I mean, either
there's
way-
a trailer out, by the way. On
I want to play it, but I'm gonna get copywritten.
That's true.
All
Can we
right,
turn
I'll-
it? Can we turn it upside down?
Dude, play half of it, like off the screen.
They just literally were like, "Hey guys, he's coming out tomorrow." By the way,
This is the most Nintendo thing to happen though. Like that's like what they do. Speaking, yeah, let's.
It's kind of funny because my roommate sitting beside me, he's been looking at a picture of Joker like for the past like 15 minutes, but not because he knew that Joker was coming out. Like it's just happened. Huh? That's funny. He just happened to be looking at a picture of Joker while this all happened.
Dude, I'm actually kind of happy. Like I'm not happy because I don't get to watch it until after, but like I'm happy that this happened while we were. Anyways, so I just wonder what else. Okay, so it says Graph Fighter Pass, Challenger Pack, Joker, Memento Stage, iconic music for Persona, awesome, and 4 future DLC packs. So I wonder what else is coming in 3.0 because there's stuff that needs work, like the online lobbies needs a lot of work, or just the online in general, like quick play.
This trailer is 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Jesus, this is a mini direct at this point.
This is like literally a mini direct. They just
Wild, dude.
Well,
Well,
I mean, we can't really talk about it, but we can let's put our like wish list down before we actually look at the trailer.
Yeah.
'Cause the trailer is gonna tell us what is coming because it's 15 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm only just for reference. I've been silenced the last like couple of seconds because I just wanted to watch the character trailer to see like what's coming down so far, and it's a lot to break down when I have my headset on and I'm also like trying to listen to what Morgana's saying, even though I never want to listen to what Morgana's saying. But like, so all from what I've seen so far is that Joker uses a lot of gun, uses his knife. He has a tether.
yes.
oh my God. Wait, hold on. Let me see.
Wait. He has a tether, as in like that's his up B.
Oh,
Or does he have a
yeah.
tether?
I don't know. It's in like the first like couple of like seconds of the trailer.
Yo, they added
But-
Persona 3 Pro Tag for a Mii costume. That's actually kind of sick.
That's actually fantastic. Mementos looks kind of sick, by the way.
It looks cool. There's that
Oh my God,
platform
they
is
said Joker has
definitely.
limit. They said Joker has limit.
Oh no.
Oh man.
I think it said Rebellion.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Smash 4 Clown. Let's go.
All right. So also confirmed is the stage builder, which I think we all kind of knew about.
Yeah. Thanks, Best Buy employee.
Yeah, way to go, man. But I guess we would have known anyways. So that's kind of cool. Actually, it looks like there's
Oh,
quite a
there's
bit of
video
information.
editing.
Oh,
Video editing.
yep, video editing.
I think they upgraded the video editing, and they're allowing you to share content. I'm literally just clicking through.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing right now.
Smash World.
God,
Smash World for recommended stages. So it's like sort of like Super Mario Maker in that sense.
Oh, this is crazy.
So Stage Builder, they upgraded Video Editor, Smash World, and shared content.
Yo, look! Link is showing Zelda his cell phone. Is his. So obviously we could share things via phone because I also see Okay. Oh, this is actually really cool. I can't wait to actually watch this in full. But it's looking like what are these pictures? This is crazy.
This is absolutely.
Oh, yo!
insane.
So it looks like you could update any kind of photos, videos, screen caps, probably from your Switch to your phone, so you could share with your friends. Search for fighters by video. So, small bird. Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know. This is crazy, but all right. So there's another me costume. I wonder though. Like, I'm really hoping that there's some stuff for like the online lobbies. Anything really.
They probably wouldn't say that in the video because they're probably just trying to introduce new things in the content video. And then in terms of like logistics and stuff like that, they probably do that. Like that would be released in the patch notes.
Right. So this now in nowhere in this doesn't mention anything about like what's coming next. I'm assuming, right? Because I was seeing a lot of like speculation posts where people were just like, oh, it says in the initial tweet for Joker that he technically stole an invitation from somebody. So like, what if in the trailer who he steals the invitation from like shows up? And I'm like, all right, you're living in your pipe dream at this point. So like, I feel like anything else like related to the DLC probably we're not going to see until E3. So,
which is kind of, I guess that kind of does make sense because they definitely have 2 months to like just not release anything. If all of the other 4 are supposed to come out by February 2020, then they have a lot of time.
Yeah, like they wasted like I don't want to say wasted time, but like there's so much there's so much foreplay with Joker that like they kind of made you forget.
They definitely just announced a character and then didn't say anything about him until
it was announced
4 months later.
It was announced midnight of the game's release, like, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, it was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks later. It
was 2 weeks after the early release of people pirating it.
Yeah, it was, and I quote, literally like 15 minutes before the game came out. They showed it.
What?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah. What I remember.
What day was the Game Awards?
It was on the 6th.
Oh, so it was the.
Yeah, I just remember because I remember uploading the PR for the last Wii U season, and just like, also seeing that trailer pop off, and also just like being like, "What is happening?" Because like it was the weekend before no, it wasn't. But yeah, there was just a lot going on. Like, jeez, yeah. So here we are.
I need to watch the trailer.
I almost want to play. I want to play Me Fighter now, just because.
Well, my Palutena made her debut, and now she's going back into the
Okay, this is perfect. Actually, I'm so glad we have you on today's Zone because like you're the prime candidate of someone who's literally just been waiting for Joker and picked up a top tier just to like bide your time.
Yeah,
you've literally been in, and I quote, in the Velvet Room with everybody else.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because like
all right.
Yeah, because we were talking about this earlier, like how we had so many like Palus and Wolves on stream and stuff like that. Zone, you were one of them, it's a new character.
I think me and Ralphie were the ones that started.
Yeah, you were very early top 32.
Yeah, definitely started it and then dragged it out to Game 5, and then from then on it was like, ooh. It's not over.
You know what's pretty crazy? The craziest part about this is because, like, I don't know if we're going to expect to see any nerfs within this patch, like notable nerfs. I'm sure there's going to be at least a few.
We're going to get a lot.
I sure hope so, because, like, all I'm thinking is, like, I'm just remember you being, like, kind of at the point where you're like, I don't know if I really want to, like, put time into. All of a sudden you're like, you know what? I kind of want to sweat. I'm going to be good again. And then you pick up a top tier, and sure enough, like, you placed pretty well at Scarlet Classic. Like, it's funny. Like, it was just like that.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah, but like, sure.
Just playing. It's like Cat Felton just lets me do what I want with my brain. Like I don't know how to do it. I think the reason why like I like vibe with her well, there's 2 reasons. Her Nair is Mewtwo's Nair. Her up B is Mewtwo's up B. That's really it. Like everything else, I'm just like, okay, well I can figure it out as I'm doing it. Most of this was improv. Like.
I'm sure. I mean, because you just picked up the character. Because you were using Pokemon Trainer or Ridley in Pokemon Trainer. What, like a week ago?
I was using Mii Brawler a week.
Oh yeah, Mii Brawler, even better. So like, it really makes you think. But
yeah.
Well, while we're thinking, we probably.
How did I win this game? What the hell?
I don't know. Let's go back. Yeah, but like I don't know. I guess while we're at it, there was another tournament this weekend that was Prime Saga. I guess it was kind of a big tournament, you know, like.
Yeah, it actually
kind of big one.
Interestingly enough, this is the tournament that sparked everyone saying the first PGR is going to be a huge mess because it was already like in the air, like who was going to be like top 3, top 4, and then MKLeo and Tweak both get 7.
So here's
this is an A tier.
Yeah, I wanna know more about this. So it was an A tier, and those guys who've like we've seen Tweak win tournaments.
Just a small question: Are we like this has to be like an A tier that was just on the cusp of S tier because weren't there like 800 entrants?
There was 840 something, if I recall.
Yeah, so it was like 60. It was like
I'm
what is it,
trying-
1,000 for S tier?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the.
I guess
Here we
they
go.
made
Got
S
it.
tiers more. So it's interesting. They made S tiers less accessible and C tiers more accessible. I sort of agree with that because I remember in Smash 4 where there was like a year of just all the S tiers being in SoulCal and nothing else being S tier.
Yeah, I
So-
mean,
Yeah.
I guess that sort of makes sense, and
It makes sense in the sense that like smaller scenes can get their C tiers and B tiers, but in order for something to be an S tier, it really, really has to.
So
bring
in the future, though, that's ultimately going to be decided by which PGR players show up that day. Like we're at a unique point in the game where it's new, so it's all attendance based. But then it's going to turn into like which PGR players are, which is funny. I was trying to get more info from Swar, just like out of general curiosity, and he kind of dipped from the conversation. But I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to work, and it just kind of makes me wonder though, because at that point, it already becomes a fixed system versus something that's open.
No. I think that what Swar was saying was that once the PGR becomes solidified, it's not that you can't get like a C tier with attendance. You still can, but in order for your tournament to get the points that'll bring it up to like B tier, A tier, S tier status, you can have a smaller amount of attendance and a lot of PGR players that will bump up your. So basically, like what was happening in Smash 4, where like Royal Flush was an A tier with only like 120 entrants.
Interesting.
Because it had like
yeah,
it had, like,
yeah.
6
No,
out of the
I
top
got
10.
it. I got
Stuff
it.
like
Right.
that start happening once the PGR.
I
comes
just
out.
so but
So it's like your tournaments are a gotcha game, and the PGR players are like microtransactions.
yes, that
Yes.
is precisely
Yeah,
it.
wow, that's amazing.
That is actually amazing because these guys get funded to travel to events. So like, if you want your region to get big, you better be willing to pay for like Zachary to show up.
And in that sense, like that's not bad because like that's one way to put your region on the map. Like PW, I think Washington did that a lot in Smash 4, where they just I think it was like every 3 months they had what was it, port something.
Yeah, port
And they would-
priority.
Port priority, they bring out like 3, 4, 5 top players and become like an A tier, and that's how we hear about like Konga and Pandarian and all of them, like Cosmos. Like,
And the
that's
funny-
how we heard of that.
And the funny thing is, so like I think about this from two ends because New Jersey is interesting because we just have now it's just normal and commonplace to have PGR players around here, like or PGR caliber type players around here, like commonly. But like all of Smash like 4, we were basically stuck in that weird zone of not being able to like. No one would come here because no one gave a shit about the region. It's just like we would turn up when we went places. So
Yeah.
that was the way that like we kind of made note, and then everyone sort of brought it during Ultimate, and it's been a non-issue. But my concern kind of goes to like some of the regions that don't have that luxury or like a close.
Yeah.
So it sort of feels like a fixed system. But like I think this is a different topic.
I
But-
think of a region like Texas or something like that. Or,
Yeah.
like,
So it's
one of these like Southwest regions that like aren't gonna have like the firepower. Because I did bring this up on commentary where like I think it's no secret that the Northeast is very like centrally focused as the best region currently right now for Ultimate, and I'll take that.
I would say yes, but some people might argue Japan. I agree that it's Northeast region. It's like
well also
I'm not
like.
doing it. Northeast Atlantic is just too strong.
And
Yeah.
and Japan sort of making themselves like this weekend kind of clear because this was this like the first obviously the first Japanese Grand
No.
Finals on American.
So
soil.
I was gonna say I think it was Seagull Joe that brought this up on Twitter. It was the first Japanese only Grand Finals on American soil since like Apex 2014 or something like that.
Wow, that's a lot of years
Which-
actually.
Yeah.
It's 5 years.
Which both ironically involved Olimar, I'm pretty sure.
Of course.
Yeah, but I was gonna say like I think because if the tier system does change to where it is gonna depend on how many PGR members you can get. Like we're already gonna have like 4 or 5 depending on how things shake up the rest of the season.
Yeah, so it's really. I'll let you finish, Kyle. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say like because we're gonna have to travel a lot less farther for PGR treated events because like we brought this up weeks ago in the podcast, but like these smaller events really do make a difference. Like it's very interesting how like C tiers are easier to obtain, but like the S tiers really matter. So I think it's gonna make things a lot easier for the people that live in the Northeast. Like if you live in Boston or Maryland or in the tri-state area, like things are going to be a lot. We're going to be able to reap the benefits a lot easier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
It's our turn, basically.
Yeah.
But the thing is like I don't want it to be. Like I want this to be open. I just feel like
it's not that it isn't open though, because I mean, like Kyle said, it's like sort of like a gotcha where the PGR players are microtransactions. You want those players to come to your events because then that gets your region better events. Like that I see it as just how it works. Like,
yeah,
I don't know I don't know what other system would provide merit for both the players and the region.
I don't have the answer. I'm just saying, like, I just wonder if there is another way. And also, like, PG Stats is his own thing, so who's to say that there isn't something else that comes out? It's just, like, more of a curious question. I just remember being on the other end of it, and I think that's mostly what I'm speaking for. Because, like, and I understand, I see Vin saying it's a business. Like, I'm full on aware of that it's a business, which is why this is, like, an issue for me. Because as a business, I want viewership to grow all around, and I want all the regions to be interesting. So you're not necessarily at the whim of specific players. Now, I'm not going to pretend that specific players don't bring interest, because they do. But I also want my local players to become the interesting players as well. And fortunately for me, that's worked out. But I don't think you could really count on that if you're just, like, random region. Like we've done it. We've literally willed it out. Like,
I was about to say we did it, so it's not. I don't know if it's fair to say that you can't do it if you're a random region, because that was us.
I mean, you know what? You're right. Maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way. Maybe maybe I gotta train the regions to get good.
Maybe something like that. But so yeah, since we talked a lot about the process at which Prime Saga became what it was, the tournament itself was definitely very interesting because. I bring this up like in public a lot, where like, something I noticed in Smash 4 is that every like 4 or 5 months there'd be a tournament that would happen where shit would just hit the fan and like nothing would make any fucking sense. Like the results, like the results would be kind of consistent for a while. You can kind of like peg out who's gonna be where, and then like fucking CEO 2016 happens. Where like everybody just starts dropping like flies. Zenodo and Anti are in grand finals. Like I feel like Prime Saga I feel like Prime Saga like kind of fit into that category where like things eventually did kind of right the ship, but because so many players like dropped like flies early, like the end bracket got kind of nuts. So I don't know if you guys feel any differently.
I don't know if we're at a point where we can say that the game is consistent or not, because there's still not a ranking. Like we don't, there's nothing to base consistency on. Everyone is fighting for the same throne in the beginning.
True.
The only thing that for me that spells like, oh my god, that's not consistent is like MKLeo not getting top 3. Like other than that, it's like everything kind of seems like something I would sort of expect in the beginning. Is people kind of all over the place.
Olimar's busted.
Yeah. Like the only things that are consistent, which I kind of like, are that the characters that are winning are pretty consistent. Like there's not like one character that's just beating everyone. Like there's maybe like 2, 3, 4 characters that like cycle between like what tournament wins.
Yeah, you see like the same like you see a good like 3 or 4 top tiers like near the end of the tournament, but like even throughout the top 8 you're gonna get some character variety. Like this tournament had T getting what was it, 5th place with Pac-Man,
and then Ally getting 5th with Snake, and then there was and Tweak and MKLeo both played like 3 characters each. Like
yeah, hold on, let me get that top 8 graphic back. Yeah, there was. I mean, the most consistent thing we have are definitely at the meantime. And this isn't even a joke, is Wolf and Palu. Like those are 2 characters you could definitely hang your hat on.
Maybe not. Maybe not after tomorrow.
Sure, that's what I was gonna say. Patch permitting.
Yeah, I that's something I wanted to ask you guys, because that's something I saw brought up on Twitter by somebody. I forget who it was, but like somebody was being like, "Hey, dev team, like look very closely at like what's happening in the game right now. Like don't let like." Twitter and Reddit comments like decide what gets nerfed and what doesn't.
Come on. I'm almost positive that when it comes to Sakurai, he's just watching the tournament. Like he doesn't care about what's on Twitter. Like unless like someone goes out of their way to show it to him, he's probably just watching the tournament.
So Hey, I'm noticing something interesting. So, Mr. R was using Crom, and I'm noticing I see no Crom, I see a Roy. So
He
that's
he uses Inkling and Snake, and then he switches between Roy and Crom.
okay. Okay, then that makes sense. And then I think what was Nico the highest placing SoCal player, I
I
believe,
believe so.
at
Yes.
Yes,
13th.
that's third. Yes.
Because I think every big tournament we see, because SoCal has all the big ones, there's always some sort of tilted tweet about how bad SoCal is at the game. But like that is kind of tricky because they are throwing all of like the most like the largest tournaments. I don't know. SoCal feels more like Japan than it does SoCal to me. Like
Yeah, it's because it's easy for like internationally, like Japan. We want Japan to come, so California is the closest place for them to come, and it's easier for them. And
Yeah, it's quote unquote cheapest and like the closest for them to
so it's
get
like
to.
that's going to be the area where Japan will come the most. So,
yeah, man. Shout outs to Gluttony still kind of bringing it. I mean, we saw him win a bunch of tournaments early on, and getting ninth here. Who and someone had who beat him that was like an upset. I feel like someone did.
it was Zan, I think.
Yes.
It was Zan, which is so cool, aka Cookie Slayer, but everyone knows him as Zan.
I actually found that over the weekend that his tag is Cookie Slayer because he lost a bet.
I believe, yeah.
Oh, shiz. That's well, good for him.
Yeah, because like
Holding on to bet.
you look at the like, if you look at the top 8 graphic, the only like person that's there that's like, oh, you we didn't expect you here at all is Ally. Like,
That's true.
That's
Yeah,
kind of
which-
it.
Which
Everyone else
saying
is like,
something.
everyone else is like, okay, I kind of expect you all to be in top 8 fighting for, like, I didn't expect Shuton to win, but like, I kind of expected all those players to at least get that far. Whereas Ally was like, I kind of expected him to be in like the 13th range, but look at him go.
It's almost kind of weird at this point seeing DeBuzz at ninth. I'm so used to seeing him like a little higher. Not that ninth isn't an amazing placing, obviously. But like, it is crazy, and even Sam Sora, this was a lot of people there, obviously, but yeah, super stacked. My lord.
Yeah, and obviously, Zach Ray getting second place, losing from winner's side though, which definitely hurts a little bit. But I think if there's one thing I saw somebody else bring up over the weekend is that, I'm sure this is before they saw the Scarlet Classic VODs, but maybe Wolf is like a little bit like not as good as everyone thought they were because even Zach Ray is like a counter picker now.
This
Like-
is the meta that I saw happening when I picked, because like Wolf was one of the first characters that I picked up, and in my head I was this is literally what I thought. I thought everyone is going to play this character. Everyone is going to know how to play against this character. I don't want to play this character. Like that was literally my process. It's not that Wolf isn't good. It's that he is made hard by the fact that everyone knows what he does and everyone knows how to play against him.
Right.
That's what makes him difficult to play. Not that he's not good. I still think he's top 3 easily.
Yeah, I think like and the results are starting to speak now. Like, and I'm gonna reference just the results from Scarlet Classic just because it's like the easiest thing to reference at the moment. Like, they're obviously really like popular to pick up. I'm saying they, meaning like Wolf and Palutena. And as you mentioned, it's not like it's not that they can't be difficult to be good at. It's just that like everyone knows how they play. But like they still get the results, man. It's pretty crazy. Hold on, let me open this link. But here we go. Right. I mean, like this though, like speaks volumes to me because this is, and I don't even think it's just this area. I heard, I can't remember where I heard this, but someone was basically saying about like how slow the game feels sometimes. In this area, or no, how slow the game feels sometimes. This was someone who had locally commentated, and then someone basically saying like, well, maybe it's just the way the meta has evolved in this area. Which would make sense because, I mean, you're seeing Palu Wolf, like, pretty commonly. Like, even, like, Xeno's been won by Palus, like, every week except for, like, the past week or two. Like, it's...
Yeah.
I don't know. And Palu definitely is a player that can slow down or speed up whatever, She could range or she could basically just nair you to death, so...
I feel like...
Yeah, I go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like this top 8 would have been a lot less stagnant if we weren't under a time crunch. Because, like, we did have to kind of abridge the top 8 to appease the law.
My bracket, literally every single game that I played was right after each other. Like I got 9th in dubs with Ray, and we played like 4 sets straight of dubs because after we played our first round, they made us wait like 2 hours, and then we played like three, four sets in a row. And then immediately after I got up in dubs, I had to go into my singles pool, which I thought was 4 hours later, but it wasn't. And then I played 4 sets in a row. So like everything that I did, I had like no break in between. And by the time like I was done with bracket and losers, like I've never been more sweaty after a tournament in my life. And I just feel like there was no like if things had went as they were scheduled, and I know it's like we were just getting back to the original point that like it's not a surprise to me that everyone didn't want to be there, that everyone wanted to leave. And you know what is it's another interesting point. Alan was probably, or Jen, he was probably the person that was the most awake there because he was sleeping all day.
Yeah.
He was tired because he went to Xenosaga the day before. So in the car on the way there, he was sleeping. When he got there, he was sleeping. Before Top 48 started, he was sleeping. Like, and then by the time like it winded down at the end, he was the only person awake.
Yeah.
Nights.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. Sunday's a weird day for a tournament, but I'm realizing there was a pretty big tournament in Tokyo also, which I forgot. I remember Cosmos had went there. I just forgot that this was a thing. There was Umbura.
Umabura.
Umabura.
Yeah,
Yes.
Umabura.
There's a couple things I'm gonna take away from this. Number one, Ken is Jesus because he got third place using a character that's half complete. That's my guy.
Oh wow.
I will break.
Niatono's God if that's the case because he didn't lose a game. Like,
That's the other point I was gonna make is that Neotona won this single game, which is absolutely insane. But shout outs to my Lord and Savior, Ken. That's you,
Dude.
I don't get it, man.
By the way, this person, Proto man, the person that got fourth. So I can't read that name. Like it's like
Proto Bantam.
Proto
I guess. I have no idea.
Bantam.
Sure.
According to Dre, this person has been like getting like top 8 at like almost every tournament that she has went to, and he doesn't know who the person is. Like he doesn't remember them from Smash 4. He thinks it might have been someone that changed their tag, but if not, then this person is on the come up.
Let me just say how cool the Japanese meta is. I'm just gonna slide that in there. I'm just looking at the character selections here and just the variety and just there's Inklings in there. That's nuts. Like Inkling is like the Japanese like Palutena or something. Like I don't even see Palutena on this graphic.
No, there are no Palutena in Japan.
Amazing, dude.
Not
It really does
I
make
must
you
have not a
think.
single one, but like they're just not there. I feel like to be completely fair, Palutenas are oversaturated in the Atlantic Northeast, but like everywhere else, it's kind of like don't really see them.
Huh.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, don't really see them outside of Northeast Atlantic.
There's a lot of Pokemon in this graphic. I tell you that.
Yeah. It's weird. What was the character in Smash 4 that like Japan didn't really have a lot of? I'm trying to think. Out of like the top tiers.
Bayo.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they actually, it's crazy that Japan actually does this thing where they play for like some sort of like fun and honor.
Yeah, because like I think like state like law prevented it to where like you cannot like
They don't play for money.
Yeah, they don't play for money. Like I think back to an Event Hubs article I saw where Kameme won Enumabura and he got a sack of rice.
Oh wow, that's actually nuts.
There's another one where Ken came to America and won MSN. He got like $500 and he was in utter shock. He was, you guys play for this? Like, you get this much money? Like,
jeez.
That's my guy. He's out here getting top 3 with a character that is like half finished. That's my dude. Big fan.
Well, hey,
maybe he'll be finished by tomorrow.
Nah, man, I made Joker.
Okay, but so Nintendo is not usually kind to Sega reps. They weren't kind to Sonic. They weren't kind to Bayo. But Joker's good. Supposedly, everyone's saying Joker is OD. So maybe they're gonna slide some of that goodness in Bayo and Sonic's way. Maybe they're not gonna shaft these Sega reps.
Bayo's fine.
Yo, so this you just triggered a good thought in my mind is okay, so what characters do you think that maybe aren't very good right now that may actually turn out to be like possibly broken with like a minor buff?
I legitimately
I'm saying Incineroar because I actually think Incineroar is good, but if they buff him, he could fly to top tier if they buff him again. Like I actually think he could be like ridiculous. He would be this game's Smash 4 Ryu if they buffed him again.
What would be the buff that would like send him over the edge?
Any speed. If they make him any faster, all right, that's it. He's top 15 for free. Like if they make him any faster in the air or on the ground.
I do legitimately think where if they fix like how multi-hit moves work, like characters like Ness will probably be like still stupid, but like I think Sonic will probably see like a lot better results because half the sets I lose with Sonic still like works well. Like he's still like his damage output's still really good, and like he has a lot of the same tools that like were really strong in Smash 4. Like if up like when up air works, it's a really good move. But like keyword on if it works, because like I can't tell you the number of times where I've hit somebody with spin dash and I go to up air them and they just like don't get hit, and it just like triggers the ever living piss out of me.
They
So, like,
might be kind to characters that they like the top tiers in Smash 4 that they nerf because they did the same thing in Smash 4 with the Brawl top tiers where they over nerfed them in the beginning and then buffed a bunch of them back into slight relevancy. So they might be kind to Mewtwo, they might be kind to Diddy Kong, they might be kind to Bayonetta. They definitely will be Sheik.
yes.
Like stuff like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hold on.
I would rather. On the subject of that, just really quick, Chris. I do want to say that like I would rather see more buffs than like the only things I legitimately need to see nerfed is like Wolf's down smash. And I think we're all on the same page on that.
Yeah, Wolf's down
Like-
smash is getting gutted.
I don't think Pichu needs to be nerfed. Like I don't think Palu needs to be nerfed.
Do you think a character like Sheik sees anything?
I think she needs a lot. Yeah.
Well, she definitely needs a lot. I'm wondering if she's gonna get anything.
I think they'll give her damage buffs, if anything.
She needs
Like,
something, man.
I think her toolkit is fine. It just doesn't do enough damage.
Yeah.
So they're gonna probably give her damage, and then that'll make a lot of her moves like link better because the opponents will be in stun for longer. So I think that's what they're gonna do is just give her damage.
Dude, I love this gift, by the way. I know we're getting close to the end, and it's what made me think about it. This is our very own young boy Shelter. It's so good. I'm about to head out.
Oh shit! Ah shit! Here we go again.
Oh my god, dude.
So if we're on the verge of closing out, I do have an idea of an exercise we can do here.
Let's do it.
So we'll do our shout outs of the week because I do think there are some people that need to be shouted out, and I'm sure one of us is going to steal one of the others.
Definitely.
So let's do that, and let's do our. I guess we already kind of did like what characters we want to see patched.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, we could, if you wanted to do, like take like a hard confirmation on the thing that you want, like character, or we could just jump in. Doesn't matter to me. I'll let you start. I don't want to steal.
All right, so
Name.
I'm just gonna steal Vince before anybody else does, because I'm a jackass. So I do want to give a big shout out to Vince. Like the big thing that South Jersey, I feel like they definitely feel like the redheaded stepchild sometimes of the state, just because they're so far out of reach of everything. So like when one of them's able to perform well, it's really really promising. And like I know James will. There were some controller malfunctions with James, but like you still take those at the end of the day, and he still fought his way to 9th place. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
So,
he was.
good on him.
Yeah, he definitely played really, really well. And despite problems or no problems, my man capitalized. And if anyone needed a win, it was definitely South Jersey. Those guys, it's tough, man. I actually love South Jersey quite a bit. I used to see a lot of. Actually, we still see a lot of them at Platinum Star. They always come out, and it's always great to have them. But yeah.
Can I go?
Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
go
yeah.
ahead.
No, you could go. I'm
gonna give a shout out to Law. Like
Yeah, that's a
man's been
really
on
good
fire.
one. That is a
Bro,
really good one.
I didn't even know that he got 8th, that he got 7th until I saw the graphic, and I was like, who did he beat? He beat Utopian Ray, and he beat Vince. Like he's like crawled through the bracket, and to get into winners top 48, he beat Dark Matter. He has the most PR wins of anyone that's not on the PR currently. Like. And like no one knows because he deleted his Twitter, so he doesn't get to say anything. Comes to tournaments, swipes the win. Like I'm pretty sure he swiped the win from Gons at DNA last week.
He totally did. And it's funny because Gons sandbagged on him hard. Winners finals, he used Doc on him, and it was a pretty close set. And then Gons was pretty certain he was going to just like win. He's like, oh yeah, like I'll reset quick and whatever, and then Law ended up winning in set 1. Thanks for playing. Like it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I do want to like Law is definitely in contention for. Like, he might as well be a Phantom Thief at this point. Like he played this better than just I think the typical film buff that he is. Like coming in the third act as like the guy that's been on screen the entire time as the person you have to be the most afraid of.
Yeah,
And,
he's a fun character.
Yeah, and like I love seeing him do well, man, because like he's always been a fun player to watch, and like to see him be able to like keep up with some of the state's best and stuff like that after not literally going to anything for almost an entire season. Like it really is nice to watch.
Well, yeah, especially because he was one of the guys who like solo main Sheik, used a little bit of Falcon, barely just kind of dicking around, and so obviously not able to use his character in this game. Got off to a little bit of a slow start. So yeah, it's pretty good to see. I'm a big fan of Law. He does a little bit of some of the trailer work that you've seen on the channel, and probably see some more in the future. But I'm gonna give my shout out to the obvious one, and that's gonna be Jackal for kind of holding his own all day as everyone else was sort of dropping out or getting frustrated or whatever the case may be. Walking out on Sunday with a good little chunk of change in his pocket.
Like 800 plus.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
second
about
place. I mean, honestly, played really well. And he had he had some pretty good wins. Obviously, like coming in second, definitely like Jackal. Also, kind of like someone who suffered from his main being gutted, or not gutted, but definitely significantly weakened from the previous iteration of the game in Sonic. But has made the adjustment with Wolf because he went through the period where he tried using Pichu. It's funny, I think him and Ralphie tried using Pichu, and now they both play
Yeah.
Wolf.
Yeah, him and Ralphie had the exact same character route because they pretty much had the exact same character route.
I brought that up on commentary.
Ralphie also
I think that's what made me think of it. Yeah,
Ralphie also had a Pokemon trainer in the beginning, which he is now bringing back. Actually,
that's good.
But
Good. That character is borked.
Yeah, that character's really good. I know there's some mixed opinions, but and I do want to give a shout out just because I don't want this to necessarily get totally whitewashed in all the mess of the day, but like shout out to Zamba, dude.
I was about to say, I'm looking at this bracket.
He had a crazy run. Can you read it? Can you read me the? Yeah.
All right. So he. I don't even know who he lost to in winners, but like let's go back to the pool that he was in. He lost to Lemon Tea in winners. Beat 10 to get into top 48 losers. 2-1 James. 2-0 Adamist. 3-1 Jets. 3-1 Biddy. 3-2 Stocktaker. 3-2 Bonkai, and then lost to Ralphie in losers quarters.
And I also want to give a quick shout out. Speaking of Bonkai, to him also. He 3-0'd ZD to get into top 8, and like ZD's like one of one of the most consistent players who I didn't even know he was there for like half the day because everything was just such a fucking nightmare.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, he was definitely kept out of top 8. MDVA kept out of top 8 by Bonkai, so shout outs.
Tri-State Defense. Yeah, I respect.
Yeah, and the cool part about that is Bonkai at 7th, Law at 7th. And I also want to, even Gons, despite having a little bit of a mixed attitude recently, I think he reverse 3-0'd Suarez.
He did.
Which is pretty nuts, and that's pretty big because I think he was at his last bit of percent.
He was at 50% on his last stock, and Suarez was on a fresh second stock.
Man, if he keeps a clean head, he'd be terrifying, but we'll get there. But that's gonna be it for us today. I actually had a lot of fun with this episode. It's really fun talking about things that you care about.
Joker.
And Joker coming out right in the middle of the episode. I couldn't have asked for better.
Wait, I'm pretty sure this is the second straight time this has happened. Where Plant dropped right as we were on the podcast before.
Yeah, hashtag buff Plant.
Yeah, hashtag we are the gateway into the DLC characters coming out. So make sure to tune in. Make sure to tune into the podcast fucking 6 months from now on a Tuesday.
Yo, you've heard. Yo, how about
Chief on a Wednesday?
Oh, dude, at that point we're prophets because no one's ever gonna beat Dilla's prophetic Piranha Plant coming out a year plus ago. But I will say I did say not Piranha, I said PD would be coming out I think a couple days before. So know what?
That's more believable than Piranha Plant.
Yeah, but the point is we got a plant for Mario. So all I'm saying is we kind of know what we're talking about here. So maybe tune in, maybe tell your friends, maybe drop a like, maybe just let the video play even if you don't want to watch it so we get some views.
And tune in to the Platinum Star Arcadian.
Yeah, dude, turn in the Platinum Star Arcadian because
Vince will be there.
Yeah, Vince will be there, and a lot of South Jersey guys will be there, along with a lot of the North Jersey guys and Central Jersey guys. And
Riz will be there.
Law will be there. Like,
will Riz actually be there?
Riz might enter.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
He is in the Velvet Room.
Dude, Saturday is gonna be actually cool, and it is New Jersey only. Just a reminder, and
by the
also.
Way,
Mm-hmm.
You can update other people's switches without being online. So you can share your update with other switches via wireless.
Oh wow!
So that might be something that we need to look into on Saturday, because I could definitely see setups being brought in without being updated.
Dude, are you laughing at ML's comment? Starcadian 2019 featuring the 2016 RJPR.
That's what's going to happen.
That's so good, man.
That's so good. All right, I'm gonna go watch this trailer and
yeah, we gotta get on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna furiously masturbate for the next 3 hours.
But yeah, so follow us on Twitter. Follow me at CSantaZX. Follow Koopa at KoopaNJ. Follow Zone at Zone1P, and follow this podcast because I honestly feel like, and I say this a lot, but I kind of do feel like it's starting to heat up, and I do think we touch on some pretty good topics. I thought this one today was definitely interesting. So yeah, tell your friends, share all that fun stuff. But thank you for watching, and I guess we'll catch you next week.
See ya.
Persona!